Hi everybody and welcome to Everyday Manna. Today we are going to be doing a different kind of program. With today's prices of groceries, with the unknown of what may or may not happen in the future, I personally believe we all need to be thinking ahead. And I'm not a prepper, but I do believe in preparing for the future. I do believe in keeping enough food on hand for a couple of weeks in case a snowstorm comes or in case you get sick and you can't get out or whatever. That's one reason to do a program or to do things like what I'm going to show you today. Another is we're all busy. And sometimes we just don't want to have to think about what's for dinner. And this is a good way to have a complete meal together. You know you've got all the ingredients. It's ready to go. They are all easy to do with minimal prep. And it's just one of those things that's convenient and handy. So for whatever reason that you choose to do the preparing the meals today, like what I'm going to do, it's fine. What we're doing is, I've done a couple of these in the past. I just sort of showed you a couple of little recipes, how you can have all of the ingredients that you need together in a bag, kind of a meal in a bag sort of thing. I find this incredibly useful on those busy days when you just don't have to think, you don't have the energy to think, but yet you don't want to go through the drive-thru and pick up hamburgers for everybody. Because let me tell you, the fast food is no longer a cheap alternative. Mike and I were going somewhere a couple weeks ago, and we just pulled through a local fast food chain and just got 2 hamburgers and drinks. And it was $25. And I was like, what happened here? So it's just, for me, that's a no-go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make or get the ingredients together for what is called lasagna in a bag, lasagna soup in a bag. Couldn't be easier. So I've got all my recipes here, and what you can do is just put a little check mark beside each one if you so desire. But you're going to put all of the ingredients I'm using a 2-gallon Ziploc bag, but you could use whatever you want. And then I'll put the recipe down in here. It's ready to go. The first thing we're going to need is some ground beef. Now, here's where you have a couple of options. I actually can ground beef at home. This is shelf stable for several years because it is pressure canned. Or if you so desire, you could use fresh, but of course, obviously, you can't put it in here. So what I would do would be to take your pound of ground beef or pound, roughly in that area, put it in its own little bag and write with a Sharpie or something on there for lasagna soup. So you know not to use that until you're making this soup. But I'm going to do a program on how to can beef and chicken just for storage reasons, not spiced up for menus like we did before, but just plain. I'm telling you, it's so handy to have. So I have one. I only had quarts because I'm feeding a family of 4. But if you have pints, just a pint is enough. But if this is what you got, that's good too. Then you're going to need about 4 cups of beef broth. You can use canned or, let me get my other thing. You could use the little bouillon cubes and water, whichever you want to do. Of course, this is going to weigh a lot less. Either one works, but you want the equivalent of about 4 cups or so. Then you're going to need some dried onions, and I just buy these little things. These are from Walmart. I went to the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to tell you, not everything is a bargain there, but I did find this bag of 10 of these little containers. These are nice little containers with a secure lid for $1.25. They come in round and square. I just like square better. I think it stores better, more space friendly. You're going to need about 2 tablespoons or so. You don't have to measure, I just am. Of minced onion, dried. These are all shelf-stable ingredients. And pop that in there. We're going to need some garlic powder. So we're going to do the same thing. About a teaspoon or so of garlic powder. Because remember, we're going for shelf-stable. This could stay on your pantry shelf for, if you're using this kind of ground beef or even commercial ground beef, it could stay on your shelf for a very, very long time. I need to grab some Italian seasoning. You're going to need about a teaspoon or so of Italian seasoning. If you don't have these little containers, you could put all of this in a Ziploc baggie, would be fine. I just wanted to give you some options. Doesn't have to be exact. About a teaspoon or so. I would add salt and pepper to taste as you're cooking it. Then you need a can of diced tomatoes, either your home canned or just regular. Then some Parmesan cheese, and I don't know if you know it, but this is shelf stable. Now, if you've got fresh Parmesan that you keep in the fridge, obviously you cannot put that in here because it will go bad. It needs to keep refrigerated. But this is a great little ingredient to have on hand. I bought the little one, and I'm just going to pop that in there for use later. Let me get this out of my way. And then you have an option here for the noodles. You can either use farfalle, which is a little bow tie pasta, which is really cute, or if you have some lasagna that you want to use up, just take the lasagna noodles and break them up into pieces, and that works too. And I'm just going to use this, and I'm going to pop that right in there. Put your recipe in there where you can see it. And you've got your first meal in a bag ready to go. I'd seal it up, either put it on your pantry shelf or get a tote, like one of the big clear totes, and pop it on your tote. That would work too. So you've got your first one here. I'll set it down here out of my way. The second one we're going to do is chicken noodle soup. What a great one to have on hand, especially in the wintertime when you get those colds and the flu. Nothing tastes better than homemade chicken noodle soup on those cold days or when you just don't feel good. So that's what we're going to make now. To start this one out, I have some chicken broth. Again, I'm using the cans, but if you have the cubes, you can. If you have the powder granules, you could use that. Whatever, I just want to give you some options. About 4 cans-ish, something like that. You're going to need some chicken. Again, I have my home canned just chicken. Makes its own broth and everything. This is a great shelf-stable item to have. Or you could use the kind that you buy at the store. This is just chunk chicken. If you're going to use this, I would drain it. This you don't need to drain because that is pure liquid gold, so to speak. So I wouldn't drain this, but this I would. I'll just pop this in for today. But you use whatever you have. You need some carrots, can of carrots. You're going to need some thyme. Let me do one in a baggie just to show you. You can put all your spices in here. I need 2 teaspoons of thyme, dried thyme. So I'm going to put that in there. And then you're going to need about 3 tablespoons of our minced onion. Okay. I mean, it just couldn't be simpler. I'm just going to put the rest in there. There's not much left. And then just seal this up and pop that in your bag. Okay. And then, you know, obviously, chicken noodle soup, you need some kind of noodle. Now, you probably won't use this whole bag. If you want to take like half of this bag and put it in a Ziploc baggie, you could. Or you could just pop the whole bag in there, and then when you make the soup, what you've got left over, you can just pop it in a Ziploc bag. Put your recipe in there. And there's your second thing. This is complete. If you're in a situation, listen, I bet you when they had that latest hurricane in Florida, oh my goodness, would this have been handy just to grab in a big tote and take with you so you've got some food? That's another thing you need to think about, is being prepared in the event of an emergency situation. Then we've got a really simple one. Chicken Alfredo. I mean, really, who doesn't like chicken Alfredo? Again, if you don't have home canned, you could use a couple of cans of the small can. Again, I would drain it. A jar of Alfredo sauce. Your linguine or fettuccine or whatever kind of noodle you want. It does not matter. Then I really like this. This is actually a salad dressing mix, but it's delicious as a herb mix to put inside something. So I like the Italian seasoning for salad dressing. If you don't have this, you could use just, maybe 3 tablespoons or so of this. But that's really good. Now, this is optional, but I have a lot of these little packages of Parmesan cheese. So I'm just going to pop some of them in there, and then as you serve it, if somebody wants to put that on top of their pasta, they can. And there you go. You've got an entire meal ready to go. This is another thing this would be great for, is a gift to somebody. Maybe, they're sick, they're elderly, whatever the case would be, or they just had a baby or something, and you want to take them something. Here's a complete meal in a bag, and you don't need to add anything to it. So those are 3 dinner options for you. Let's talk a little bit about breakfast. Now, breakfast is so good. I love breakfast. One of our favorites, and this couldn't be simpler, but the point of it is to think ahead. Do I have the ingredients that I need to make pancakes for breakfast in this case? We're going to do biscuits and gravy too in just a minute. So get a box or make your own of pancake mix that only needs water. Make sure it's a complete kit. Add a bottle of syrup. Now, in my house, we only sugar-free pancake syrup. We don't have any other kind. And then that's pretty much it. Now, let me show you something that you may or may not have. It's readily available on this particular brand, which is Augustin's website. It's on Amazon. It's a great shelf-stable item to have, and it's powdered butter. This canister is good through 2027. So I've got a lot of years on this. No, wait a minute. No, yes, I'm right. February of 27. I haven't opened this one yet, so I'm not going to show you, but you could put enough of this if you wanted to add some butter as a shelf-stable ingredient. Obviously, if you're just making it at home, you probably have some butter in your refrigerator. But if you're talking about being prepared for emergency situations, it is handy to have things like this on hand to make butter. Maybe your refrigerator, you lose power for whatever reason. Mix this with water, let it sit, and you've got butter. So this is a great thing to have. If you wanted to add some into your kit, just measure out enough per the directions on the back of your package and put it in here, along with how to mix it up. But there you go. There's a quick and easy just pancake breakfast. If you want to make pumpkin pancakes or waffles, which is a big thing in my house, Austin, who's behind the camera, loves pumpkin waffles. Again, a box of your pancake mix, your syrup, Some canned pumpkin, you need about, for what I make, the amount I make, I use about half the can. But if you're only making, serving for maybe 1 or 2 people, just measure with your heart. I don't measure those things, I just mix it. Then you would want to add some pumpkin pie spice or cinnamon. Either one will work. They're both delicious. I'll use cinnamon today. So I'm going to pop it in my little container. These are reusable. And there you go. You've got breakfast to go. If you're going camping, these are great to take if you're camping. You've got everything you need right there. So there you go. There's just a couple of little meal ideas for you. I'm going to take a quick break. Then I'm going to show you a couple more things. And then I'm going to show you some staple items that I think everybody needs to have for an emergency situation. I'll be back in just a minute. All righty, welcome back. Now, we're going to continue with breakfast. And again, these are great things to have for an emergency situation, for just those busy days or mornings when you're like, I can't think, what do I want? Or if you're going camping or you're going on a trip and you take your own food. I, generally speaking, when we go on vacation, like to get a condo or a cabin if I'm going to the Smokies or something that has a kitchen, because I like to cook while we're on vacation. I know, but I do. So this is great to take with you. I have in here 2 cups of flour. Then I'm going to need a teaspoon of baking powder. And by the way, did you know that that little rim on the edge of your baking powder is so you can do that? A lot of people don't know that, but that's what it's for. I am going to go ahead and add the salt to this one. Oh, I needed a tablespoon of this. Hang on, 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon. Then I need a teaspoon of salt and a tablespoon of sugar. I'm going to go ahead and combine these ingredients in one little container, just for space. All right, mix it all up. You're going to mix it anyway. Where's my bag? Did I not get one? I guess I didn't. Thought I did. Oh, I do. I just put the flour in there. Oh, my goodness. All right, so put this in there. We don't need any more sugar, so let's get this out of our way. And we are going to need 1/3 cup of shortening, a little Crisco stick. You can cut it. There's measurements on there if you want to you could cut 1/3 cup and put it in there, but you're going to need something to grease your pan with, so I'm just going to put the whole stick, and then when I need it, measure it out. The rest of it is shelf stable. Just put it in a Ziploc bag, put it back on your pantry shelf, and it will be fine. Then you're going to need 1 cup of powder or milk. Now, obviously, milk that's refrigerated is not shelf stable. However, you have some options here. You can buy shelf-stable milk. This is good for a couple of years still. You can buy this, and that's actually a great thing to have on your pantry shelf. Or you can buy the little packets of dry milk, or you can get powdered buttermilk. Now, for me, biscuits, I think, taste great with buttermilk. Both of these I have used in various ways. It's just a powder like that. And you would want to check the instructions on your particular one as to how. Now, for 1 cup of buttermilk with this, I need 1 cup of water and 4 tablespoons of the mix. So any of those will work. Or you can use a can of evaporated milk. This is condensed down. Evaporated means they've kind of taken the water away and concentrated the milk. So you could use a little one like this and then add enough water to make a cup. Or if you have a big can, you could use the big can. Just make sure you have a cup of something. So I'm just going to take this with me. Now, you could put your bottles of water in here for an emergency situation if you wanted to take, 2 or 3, however many bottles of water that you would need. Put them right in your bag. Then that's for the biscuits, and the instructions on how to make them are on the label. Then you're just going to need a couple of packages of just the powdered gravy, the gravy mix that you buy in the grocery store. This is mixed with water only. If you've got that big thing of milk and you don't need all of that, I would use milk to make this, but you could use water. And that's it. And you've got a bag ready to go for homemade biscuits and gravy. The instructions on how to make the biscuits are on the thing, on the paper. Keep that in there so that you know. And so you've got breakfast, you've got dinner, you've got lots of different things. I'm not going to bag this one, I'm just going to kind of tell you. This is chili mac, which I dearly love. I, again, am using a can of my home canned ground beef, some elbow macaroni, about a cup or so. I would just take this out and pour it in a little Ziploc bag. If you want it to be long term, put it in the Mylar bags like we talked about. Any of this, if you want it to be long term, put it in a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber and seal it up, and it's good for a while. But, I just wanted to show you some chili powder and some dehydrated onion and a couple of cans of stewed tomatoes. If you've got them, these already have the celery, green pepper in them. If you don't have stewed, diced tomatoes are fine. Put all that in a baggie with your ingredients. If you like to have cornbread alongside your chili mac, just pick up a couple boxes of the Jiffy cornmeal mix or the bags of cornmeal mix. There's a ton of them out there. These are just very inexpensive, and I think they're delicious. This particular one does need milk and an egg. Again, you're going to have your powdered milk options. And they also do make, I didn't bring any down here, did I? I did not. Powdered egg, which we have used those before in ingredients. So if you wanted to do it, if you're using this one, measure up however many powdered egg that equals 1 egg in your brand, or look for one that just uses water. It would be fine too. Or you don't have to have cornbread, but I like it with my chili mac. Then I want to show you one more, and that is chicken spaghetti in a bag. Delicious. We've got our spaghetti, and I like this kind because it's already broken in half. I like short spaghetti, but you use whatever you've got. You want to have some thyme, a can of cream of mushroom, or you could use cream of chicken or cream of celery, whatever you want. Diced tomatoes with the chilies, the rotel, a couple of cans of chicken. Remember, drain this, or a jar of your home canned, if that's what you've got. We're going to do that as a program. And then a block of shelf-stable cheese. And the instructions couldn't be easier. You cook your pasta, drain it, and then add all this together in a pot, melt that cheese, heat it all through, pour it over the spaghetti. Boom, there you go. You've got it. You could add some of that little Parmesan cheese packets if you wanted to. So there are just a couple more that I would put all of that in a bag like what we've done. But let's talk a little bit about having, just quickly, a couple of shelf-stable things that are very convenient to have in your pantry. Now, you can find all kinds. Now remember, this is for camping, for emergency, or just pantry stability to make sure you've got enough food, it's all together. There's nothing worse than getting halfway through, well, there are things worse, but you know what I'm talking about. Getting halfway through a recipe and then realizing you don't have one or more of the ingredients. This is a great way to make sure that you have what you need. Like for instance, in this one, if you were home and you wanted to use fresh chicken, just put that chicken, the amount in a baggie, and label it for use in the chicken spaghetti so that it doesn't get used for something else. But the home canned chicken or the cans are perfect for this. But these little different varieties of potatoes are so handy to have, and all you need is water and butter. And again, you've got your powdered butter if you want to use that, measure it out. These, if you wanted to add a side dish to anything, is a great thing to add to it. This is shelf-stable roast beef. There are 4 little cans like the chicken in here. This is good for through 2026. So you've got, 3 more years basically, or, some of it's longer. Check your dates. Great thing to have. Canned corned beef. Growing up, we ate this all the time with cabbage, corned beef and cabbage, or corned beef hash. Mama would make it. So this is really actually very, very good in a cooked dish. So, the canned corned beef, it has that little thing where you peel off the ribbon of the metal around there. It's just a reminiscence of something in my mind. And of course, you've got Spam, which is a ham product. They make turkey out of it too. I'm looking to see. Yeah, it's just, Spam. You can dice it up and make fried rice with it. You can slice it and fry it, have it for breakfast. It's very good fried. I don't much like it cold, but heat it up, it's delicious in different things. Chop it up. Add it to your, if you're making a split pea soup, you could do dried peas, the carrots, and this chicken broth. There you go. And then, of course, we did this together, our mashed potatoes, our instant mashed potatoes that we dry canned, so to speak. We vacuum sealed it in a jar. We did that together a while back. We're going to do some programs in the future on shelf-stable items. These little meal rice ready to go are very, very handy to have. These are good for a couple of years. Again, your chicken bouillon, cans of mixed vegetables, potatoes, your little bags of mashed potatoes, and this ingredient lasts forever. If it crystallizes on you, just heat it up. Honey is good literally for thousands of years. Great, 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 great thing to have on hand. So there you go. There are some quick and easy shelf-stable meals for any occasion, like what we've talked about, and some shelf-stable pantry items that I think everybody should work to attain in their home. Thank you for joining with me. Let's be prepared together, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Manna.